Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to do my review for the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. And so yes, this was the latest episode of The Mandalorian. How's it holding up so far? Apparently, I was one of the few people that enjoyed last week's episode. Apparently, there were some cringy moments for a lot of people. I didn't notice that, but I thought it was the best episode of the series so far. But apparently, everyone disagrees with me. Everyone was like, "No, this was the worst episode so far." Apparently, as someone who was the longest running, well, not the longest running, but as someone who was a Power Ranger fan for the longest time, I didn't even notice the Power Ranger parallel with the motorcycle gang. But I guess I should have, considering they had all color coded motorcycles. But I'm like, yeah, but other shows and movies have color coded characters, like the Ninja Turtles, right? Or, things like that. So I'm like, really, the Power Rangers? They didn't feel like that to me, but okay. But look, I thought it was great that the flashbacks were shorter last week. Some people agreed on that. There was still some good stuff people admitted to liking, uh, as well as Chris Satin, who we got a little bit again in this episode, which I'm really excited to talk about. Now, I think, hopefully, people agree with me this time. I think this week's episode turned out to be a lot even better than the previous four episodes so far. And look, I'm not someone, if you go back and watch my first review on the first episode, I was kind of lackluster on it. I didn't think it was great or anything. I liked it, but I wouldn't say I loved it. And yeah, I'm not loving the series. I'm liking it. I'm not loving it. So it's not on the Mandalorian standard. And I do feel like we're starting to get a little bit more answers as to why Boba Fett is a little bit whipped, not whipped, is a little bit neutered right now, because I thought the flashback stuff in this episode, even though it took over almost the entire episode, I felt the flashbacks were actually much better, and probably to do with the fact not only did it tie back into Mandalorian season 1 from when we saw Boba Fett find Shennick fan, yeah, Shennick on the floor in that episode of season 1. We got to see how their relationship started in that episode, because some people presume maybe Boba and Fennec Shand. I knew I was pronouncing the name wrong. Fennec Shand. Some people thought maybe around the time of the Bad Batch, sometime after that series, that maybe that's when Fennec and Boba eventually met and they knew each other for a long time. But this episode showed us in the flashbacks that no, they actually knew each other from that moment when Boba saved her after Mando, or not, it wasn't Mando, it was the other one that killed her almost. And the only thing that annoyed me about this episode was the place where Boba brought her to get healed, the mechanical aspect of her. It looked like a tattoo parlor, and it was like all, pop rock or whatever. It was like a rock and roll kind of tattoo parlor kind of place. And that kind of took me out of it a little bit. I'm like, this, I hear people say, this does not feel like Star Wars sometimes. There are specific characters or moments where it doesn't. This really did not feel like Star Wars to me when he was in that place. I'm like, what is this? What movie does this belong to that somehow found its way into the Star Wars universe? But I thought the rest of the episode was great. I loved the rest of the flashbacks in this episode. As a matter of fact, it took me a while to realize the flashbacks are really long in this episode. So I did check, and it was like 20 minutes left when I realized, oh crap, they really let the flashbacks take over in this one. But I didn't mind it because I really loved seeing Fennec Shand and Boba's relationship expand in this episode, seeing how it started and what they had to go through to get Boba Fett's ship back. with Fennec fighting by his side at Jabba's palace, and then how eventually will lead into Boba killing Bib Fortuna, who we saw at the end credit scene of The Mandalorian season 2, which they showed us some of that clip, and that was my speculation from the beginning that we were eventually going to see. It looks like the flashbacks are leading to the point on how we saw him show up in The Mandalorian season 2. So I think we are going to see, I forgot what the character's name is, but in the beginning of Mandalorian season 2, Mando goes to that town and meets the guy wearing Boba Fett's armor. I think we are going to get to that point too, because that actor was reported last year to be returning for the Boba Fett series. So I think we are going to see that side of it, and then eventually we're going to see how he tracked down Mando and all that, and why it took so long. So I'm looking forward to the flashbacks from here on out, and how we're going to get there. I just think they don't need to be this long. Maybe this one did. I did feel like we were getting a lot from this flashback, getting to see the relationship. But other than that, the present day stuff isn't giving us much right now. Although this episode kind of did, despite the fact that it was a lot shorter. I did like that Boba recruited Chris Satton under his group. I think Chris Satton is badass. He doesn't say much. Sometimes those can be the best characters. You go back and watch The Phantom Menace. Darth Maul, one of the best characters, even though he was explored even better in the Clone Wars series and Star Wars Rebels. Darth Maul, just that small moments that he had in The Phantom Menace became a very popular character for a lot of people like myself. So sometimes characters don't need to speak. They just have to kick ass. And that's what I feel Chris Satton has done. Although we get a little bit of backstory in this episode from the woman at the casino. So that was some good information that they gave us. So I like that. I like that Boba Fett recruited him. And I like the scene where he was talking to these other, groups. I want to say the mafia, but they're not called the mafia. But they're the other people who control Tatooine, I guess. They're pretty much mafia based. And I like that he freaked them out on the dinner table with the Rancor underneath, trying to pop them out and like, hey guys, you better align with me or else, this guy, I can just send you down there right now and he'll eat you all. So I like that scene. Yeah, so for the most part, I thought this episode was a really solid episode. Best episode so far. Still not on the league with The Mandalorian. Even if I'm not, let's take season 2 out of the equation, because that one was heavy fan service. If we're going to judge it with season 1, I think it's a better comparison. I still think season 1 of The Mandalorian was a really great season to start off Disney Plus. And Book of Boba Fett isn't there yet. I feel like this episode is the start of what it should have been. But we'll see. I'm curious to know what other people think, because I always record my videos before seeing other people's reviews, so I'm always curious of what the reaction is going to be. So let me know in the comments section below. Tell me your thoughts on the episode. And hopefully I'm not the only one this time that thought this episode was great. I just hope we get more episodes that are similar to this. I wish we could get less flashbacks, and hopefully get more present day stuff that push the story more forward. I feel like we got a little bit of that in this episode with Chris Satton. But other than that, we're still kind of in the same place. We're not sure. We know that there's the Pike Syndicate is coming. There, maybe some sort of big war is going to be happening on Tatooine. I just think it's taking its time to get there for the present day stuff. And I hope that's not really the case. So with that being said, look, if Fennec Shand is going to start being more in the flashbacks, maybe that will make the flashbacks a little bit more exciting like it was in this episode. So with that being said, I hope you guys like this video. Even if you don't agree with me, liking every video that I do always helps the channel. And please comment, because that always helps circulate the video in the, YouTube algorithm and all that. So with all those people that support me, thank you very much. And anybody that watches this video and subscribes to my channel, thank you. Until next time, everybody, take care.